yes, I'm a boxer. Yes, I'm a reality TV star. Yes, I'm an influencer. But I just look at myself as like, I'm Chase, and I've built a brand off of being Chase.
Did you have a girlfriend right now?
Nah, I have no girlfriends. Are you crazy?
How many dates do you go on any given week?
Oh, yeah.
I gotta know this.
I love these questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, stepping into the podcast today, chiseled from stone and kissed by the influencer gods, this man is a TikTok titan and a reality wrecking ball. From the main streets of Too Hot to Handle and Misfits Boxing around the world, this man is not just viral, but is so filled with hustle, his name wants more. He is Chase Demoor. Please welcome Chase Demoor. Oh, wow. You know, this makes me laugh because I feel like you've been through the fire. Yeah. Like, have you been with starting kind of your big break was, I would say Too Hot to Handle, right?
Yeah.
And do you feel like something with the bug, which I still to this day feel like that's season 2 is the biggest season.
Yeah.
What do you like? Do you feel that you're uncanceled now because of like just the get-go coming in hard like that?
Yeah, you know what it is like I always thought of myself, those of you who watch like South Park or something, they have like a method on there that they use to make it so that they can kind of do everything and never really be shut down. And that's kind of like the philosophy like I took. You know, obviously Too Hot to Handle was a big break for me, but you know, I was told I was going to get this villain role on the show, which a lot of people would be scared of, obviously. But me, I'm like, you know, every great movie has to have a good villain. So, you know, I was looking at it in terms of longevity. It's like, if I'm a great villain on this, then, you know, maybe it's going to give me another opportunity to be a good villain on the next. And then, you know, there's this constant cycle of, you know, being entertaining and having these viral moments and being memorable, because it's like, you know, there's not that many good villains out there. So, I mean,
yeah. Honestly, I'm thrilled. Like, I didn't expect, you already know that I'm like screaming right now inside, because the fact that you understand you need a great heel, a great villain. Everything needs a great villain. I don't care if it's boxing, WWE, reality TV, movies. Like, you don't need a good guy if you don't have a bad guy.
Yeah, and I just feel like, honestly, to me, there's so many people that want to be the good guy. It's like jobs are very limited, and especially in reality TV and influencing. So it's like, if everybody wants to be the same job, you know, good luck, you know, but not everybody wants to do the opposite thing. And kind of like, you know, what I was saying about the South Park thing is they go for everybody. So it's like, you can't cancel somebody that's going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think personally, my opinion is like, I did a great job becoming like this likable villain, this likable heel, where it's like, now when people mimic what I do, it just comes off the wrong way, and people are like, you're not Chase, or you're not going to do it this way. You know what I mean? And so I have like a lot of pride in that, and it's, you know, being controversial without necessarily being, you know, a direct dickhead either.
Right.
You know,
polarizing.
So, polarizing.
You're very polarizing.
You have to, and if you're a heel, you're eliciting an emotional response from the audience, and that's what you need as a face as well, right? So that's why so many good heels transition to good guys or good girls eventually, because they know how to draw a response from the audience, an emotional response. And you need that.
I think you know, the smartest person has to be the heel, because it's like, you can't go out there and just say, you know, idiotic things if you have no credibility or anything to back it. You have to know what you're talking about. You know, you watch like, you know, the Batman or any of these movies that have these great villains. It's like the villain has the plan that is going according to action all the way till the end. You know, so
it's so interesting that. So did they pitch to you? Like, so I rewatched it again this morning, your entrance on Too Hot to Handle. And I was like rolling on the ground, because I wanted to talk to you about the difference of who you are in real life versus on the reality show. And I was just curious. I was like, did he not realize that he's going to come across really unlikable with an entrance like this? I am tall, I am muscular, I am dark, and I am handsome. That is a great heel. Like, for WWE, like right now, you would probably be more hated than Mike the Miz was ever hated. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, your wrestling fan bases, if you ever want to stop doing boxing and become a professional wrestler, you will be booed out of the building, because that is the formula right there. So did they pitch that to you? Like how was the conversation with Netflix, that whole situation?
Well, let me tell you, this was the craziest experience of my life because at first I thought it was complete cap. I was like, there's no way that you guys are going to pay me to come on a TV show where all I got to do is go sit on a boat and party with all these pretty girls.
Yeah.
So I remember to this day, I was sitting at a bar with my friends the day my flight was supposed to be. I get a call from this lady. She's like, hey, the driver's at your house. Like, they said you're not there. And I was like, looking around at my friends, like, yeah, I'm on my way home from the gym right now. I'm already packed. I thought this was cap the whole time. So I get home, throw all my stuff in my bag, go to the airport, fly over there, get in this car. They take all my stuff away from me, stick me in a van, blindfold me, and drive me off to this random house, right? I'm like, I just got abducted. Like, the last song I listened to was Ed Sheeran. I'm going to die to Ed Sheeran. This is crazy. And I remember when I was going in there, the lady who does the castings, who picks who goes on the show and who doesn't, she come in and she like meets me and she like looks at me. She's like, man, you're tall. I said, I know. And she goes, you have an attitude. I was like, nah, I'm just confident. I know I'm tall, right? She's like, I like this, right? And she goes, don't mess this up. And so I was like, whatever that means. And so the next day, she takes me into like a studio similar to this. And she's like, okay, give it your best shot because if you fuck this up, you're not going on the show. So you wasted all this time. And she goes, good luck. And I'm like, no pressure. So I'm sitting in there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm Chase, blah, blah. She stops her. She's like, no. I need the same energy that you had when you got there. I need, the confident, the lion, the alpha male. And then she like looks down and she picks up this fruity football, this like rainbow football and tosses him. She's like, yeah, and play with this too. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me play with this ball and talk about how great I am. So that's why I'm just sitting in there like, hey guys, my name is Chase. I'm 6'5", tall, dark, and handsome. And if you got a girlfriend, you better watch out because I'm probably in her messages.
We tried that with me on the show, and it just didn't work. It didn't resonate the same with audiences. It turned me face for some reason. I don't understand. I tried to be a heel.
That was a very, very intense thing because like I remember being the first day there and you got to go meet all the pretty girls and stuff and you're trying not to sweat and be all like, sticky when you're talking to these girls. And I was like, this is another day at the office. For me, it's like college. And I walked in there and it's just like, yeah, camera. And they're all blamming on you and they're like, okay, Chase, say something funny. And I'm like, hey guys, how's everybody doing today? You know what I mean? You got to make it flow.
What has been your favorite reality show to do so far?
Man, that's a tough one because I think, the first one is always going to have a special place in your heart because obviously Too Hot to Handle, I just get to go and party with these, beautiful girls. You never know who's coming in. And
what's the premise, by the way? Just sorry, I don't know the show very well. What is the premise of Too Hot to Handle?
I'll tell you the premise. The premise is they take a bunch of people, typically that are in college. There's some older people on there too. And all these people that are always hooking up with girls, meaningless hookups. And they put you in a villa. And we have this robot named Lana. And she has $100,000.
Lana. That's you.
That's my character name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm getting PTSD. I still hear the chime of that thing and I get PTSD because every time she chimes, there's like a challenge or somebody's going home or somebody's coming in. And basically the premise is like they find your type and it's you and a bunch of other attractive people and it's like, don't touch them. That's the premise. You can't kiss them,
You cannot kiss them. I am Lana right now, and I'm going to give you a bunch of rules. And I'm also going to take you to the WWE. I think he's tall and he's handsome. I think he could fight all my ex-husbands.
What about a show that I could be in called Too Mid to Smash? It's the same concept. Still nobody's hooking up. There's still a robot. It could be Lana.
Oh my gosh.
No, you do way better than that. But yeah, this show is insane.
That's
They're like,
crazy.
Yeah, just don't touch anybody. And I was like, okay. First thing I did, hey, you want to make out? Sure.
Wait, who says that? The woman says that?
So Lana comes on. She goes, welcome to the retreat. None of you guys are allowed to touch each other, by the way. No kissing, no touching. It's going to be a fine. So you have $100,000. And if you kiss somebody, it's $3,000. So I'm doing quick math in my head. I'm like, okay, so I could kiss you, and you. And that's only like $9,000. We're good. It's good. It's still $90,000.
They must be pretty good kissers, I must say.
Listen, man, I've spent money on worse things.
Okay, let's get to that.
Being horny makes you lose money.
Wait, so if you kiss, but then who says to you, do you want to make out? A girl comes up to you and says, do you want to make out on camera?
I don't know if you've ever been in a situation when you don't really have that conversation, my friend.
I've never been in a situation where anyone's come up to me and said, do you want to make out?
Me neither.
Certainly no one who would have paid $3,000 to do it.
You know what the worst part about this is when I went there to go make out with the girl, I had pulled her aside, so let's go for a chat. And I was like, man, you're looking nice. I go in for a kiss, right? And I lean in too far and she smacks her head on the couch thing. It was like a wooden couch, smacks her head. She goes, oh, I hit my head. And at that point, I was like, I got to see it through. And they left that in the show where she smacks her head and I keep kissing her. And I'm like,
gotta see
my
it.
God.
You're like, I spent $3,000 on this.
I'm getting my kit for $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm getting my kiss.
I'm getting that is so funny.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you know what's funny though? I like that Lana's the heel.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it
wonder
doesn't
if it's
matter.
inspired by it.
It must have been inspired.
You guys got the pink vibe going on. If Lana, like, I swear to God, if it was a person, it would be you. I swear. Have you seen?
So you go from reality shows to influencing to boxing. So my skepticism,
Oh.
I'm a huge UFC fan, right? And so you
Yeah,
first came across my
psychotic.
radar with the whole Nate Diaz thing. And I'm thinking to myself, is this guy serious? No, there's a big size discrepancy, right? But to step into a boxing ring and be in a legit, what we would call shoot fight, you have to have respect for that because you're putting your life on the line. Anytime you step in a
Literally.
boxing ring,
Literally.
whether you're facing an opponent who's skilled or not, you get punched the wrong way and it could be devastating to your life. So how do you go, not just, I know how you do it because you have a big following and so Misfits will pay you, but how do you psychologically go from, I'm going to go from reality television shows and influencing to stepping in a boxing ring and fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like,
Really
you know,
impressive.
to start with that, Nate Diaz is a prime example of what happens when you get punched the wrong way, which is why, you know, me personally, I don't think he's all the way there, but, you know, to each their own.
Well, you guys got in an actual
Yeah, we got
altercation,
into it. Oh, yeah.
but
Many,
not,
many
you didn't
times.
put hands on each other.
I tried to. I picked up a chair and tried to throw it at him.
Wow.
You're a heel.
like I'm the most unreasonable, like, you know, if people say an eye for an eye, I'm like, no, I want an eye for like a heart. Like, I'm so unreasonable. Like, he threw a water bottle at me and I tried to push like 7 or 8 dudes out of the way, pick up a giant metal chair and toss it at him. Like, I'm like, you know, I mean, and then, you know, we had our discrepancy outside where he ended up choking out fake Logan Paul whilst I was, you know, fighting 5 of his other dudes, because in my head, I'm like, I could take on 5 of these guys, no problem.
Did you get involved? Did you get was your guy? Did he have your back?
No, my cousin Kevin, you know, he's new to the scene, but he's seen my crazy antics. He's with it though, man. A couple weeks ago, I was in a boxing match and a guy smacked me in the face with an egg, and you know, he was there when I flipped the table and had 7 security guards trying to stop me from.
That was a big card, right? That was the Dylan Dennis fought, Tony Ferguson fought. And the main event was Luke Rockhold and Darren Till.
Yeah, you know, I got really lucky. You know, Misfits, Mams Taylor, and all them. They did a really great job. You know, helping me build my career. But a lot of that comes down to, you know, boxing's about ticket sales, fighting's about ticket sales. It's like, who cares to fight? And it's like, you know, finding ways to get people invested into wanting to watch combat sports and wanting to fight. And then similar to with, like, you know, with reality TV, to answer your question earlier, it's like, how do you find ways to stay relevant? Because it's so many people that do reality TV and it's so quick. It's like, you know, a nosedive, you know, after the first month, and you know, finding ways to, you know, relate to people. And I think, you know, you can always try to piss people off and be the heel, but at a certain point you have to find other ways to pivot and other ways to grow. And so I always tell people who want to do reality TV, want to do influencing, you know, have that first step, you know, then use that as a step to get to the next step, you know, have a goal in mind, find ways to grow. And so obviously, you know, I played football, as a lot of you guys know, and while I was doing reality TV, I was up in the Canadian League and down here in, you know, the UFL and the XFL and all these other leagues, and trying to, you know, make that my story, and you know, coming to Los Angeles and, you know, meeting people from other shows and doing podcasts and always staying busy and always staying with the content. Because I think, you know, the problem with nowadays is people go on these shows and they're like, oh, I'm going to be the next, you know, Kim Kardashian. It's like, it doesn't work like that now, you know?
We've said this on the show before, but all these shows start with an interesting premise, like the real world, where you're going to put a bunch of young kids in a room and film them 24 hours a day. And then the first season comes along, and then every subsequent season, the people just try to mimic what they've already seen because they know that's what gets screen time.
Right.
So even with you on Too Hot to Handle, you have producers and casting agents saying, hey, this is the archetype we think you should fulfill. And therefore, let's push those aspects of your personality, because that's what we know the audience is going to want.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say it too, because like the number one question you get, well, there's 2 questions. The first question is, did you guys eat? Yes, we ate.
Guy's 240 pounds. You think he doesn't eat?
People are like, when do you guys eat? No, if you think about it, when in a reality show do you see people just chowing down? So it's the first question. Yes, guys, we eat. The second thing is like, it'd be like, is it scripted? And I try to tell people, it's like, is it scripted? To a sense, yes. There is a plot. Think of it like a PowerPoint. There's bullet points that you got to hit on the show, beginning, middle, end, right? You know, and then whatever happens in between that is all free will. But in a sense, the storyline is driven. It is scripted. It is a puzzle. You know, there has to be a heel. There has to be the hero. There has to be the pretty girl. There has to be the, you know, the girl that's probably going to get her heart broken and feelings and start crying. And there's got to be a guy like me that's going to go point and laugh at everybody. You know what I mean? So, So similar to what you were saying, I think it is difficult.
So you've become this sort of like multi-hyphenate to a degree, right? You're influencer, you're star, you're social media, you're reality guy, you're a boxer. you had to, what is your identity? Who are you? How do you define yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, just, it's a, I ask myself that every day because, obviously I just finished up my first movie as well. So, breaking into like, the scripted acting sphere of my life. It's just like, I look at myself as like, I'm Chase. I think it's different because, back in the day, you had, Marilyn Monroe's and The Rocks and people like this who were just actors. And, it's kind of transitioned a lot to where there's so many actors out there that might not have the same amount of, fame or notoriety as some of these influencers. These influencers are making more money than some athletes. You know what I mean?
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
And so when I classify what I am, I look at myself as like, yes, I'm a boxer. Yes, I'm a reality TV star. Yes, I'm an influencer. But I just look at myself as like, I'm Chase, and I've built a brand off of being Chase. You know what I mean? That's, if you Google me, it should just say Chase Demoor, and internet personality / boxer is how I would classify them. I personally, this can be a hot take, think reality TV is way harder than acting was.
Yeah.
And the reason I'll say that is because in reality TV, if you mess up or you say the wrong thing, or you have a mistake, they are going to post that and it's going everywhere. So you always have to be conscious of what it is you're doing. Plus you have alcohol involved, emotions involved, exclusivity with not having your phone and stuff.
Yeah, God, I hate it.
Head trauma for the girl you kissed.
Head trauma for the girl. Plus they're bringing in one of the other girls that I'm probably going to have to leave the girl I'm with to go with her because I got to tell her that I like her better because she's more pretty. It's really bad.
Different kind of head trauma. But
And the thing about that is like, if that was a scripted television and you were doing all that, people would love you. They would be like, oh, he's hot, he's handsome, he's tall, he's a great actor, he's probably so different in real life. But then on reality show, they're like, oh, that's really who you are. You're a womanizer.
They see 10 hours of like 2-3 months of filming at times, 10 hours of something. And it's funny because like in scripted, as you know, with movies, it's like if I mess up on the line, up from the top, retake it, say it like this, go again, get the angle, get the shot, get the look. So, I found acting much more simple.
I will say this.
No, I agree with you on that. I definitely, that's how wrestling is, like being Lana as the ravishing Russian in the ring. I would always totally own being a heel, being a bad guy. But then on Total Divas, when they would lean me into wanting to be unliked because they need a villain, it was much harder because then on Twitter, people think that's really who you are. And it's like, I would never do something so stupid. I was just agreeing to the story plot, you know? And with doc style reality like the Kardashians or Mormon Wives, Total Divas, it's you sit down with the producer beforehand and there's A, B, and C story plot. And so, you make it your own, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to disagree with the showrunner because that could get you kicked off. Like I've seen girls get kicked off. They're like, oh, you didn't want to do any stories. Well, all your stories were dog shit. Sorry, like they were unreal, like they're not believable and they're not likable, and then Twitter is talking about how you're unlikable, and then they kick you off, So it's like on television shows, scripted television shows, they might write a character off like Grey's Anatomy, but I feel like it's less personal, It's not like, oh, they don't like Chase. It's going to be the character they don't like, So I think that's, at least for me, that was the struggle of, it's like, I don't want to be hated for, even though I did have a name, Lana, even on reality.
But Lana, listen, in this industry, you got to have the thickest of skin. You're like, oh, my days.
Dana White always says that. He says, like, if you don't want to be hated, stay off social media. Like, it's not for you. Like, if you can't take criticism, if you can't take people hating, it's just not for you. Then don't go on social media.
It's true.
Brother, in combat sports, in reality TV, in anything that you do, there's always going to be the person on Twitter at home who is not doing a fraction of what you're doing. That's going to be your number one hater. You know what I mean? And I think Dana White actually said this very well. He goes, if you're even remotely a savage in today's life, you will be okay. Because nowadays, you say something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings and they're going to be like, delete it, remove it, say you're sorry. And then it's like, buddy, like I'm the type of guy, I'll die on my hill.
You're uncancelable. Speaking of dying, I have to ask this question.
I love that.
So Dricus Duplessis said something really cold before he fought, even though he lost recently. He said, to be a fighter, every time you step into the octagon, you have to be afraid. You have to be okay with dying, right? But that's pretty easy. Like everyone's going to die, but you also have to be ready to kill, and that's the hard thing. That's the thing the normal person can't do. When you step into the ring, do you say, I'm prepared to kill this person?
It's so funny. My little cousin who was with me all summer, he asked me the same question because he's a big advocate. He watches all my fights and stuff. And he was just saying the same thing. He's like, do you ever feel nervous when you walk out there? Yeah. And I'll tell you straight up, it's like, yeah, of course you feel it's your fight or flight kicking in. But the closer you get to it, the more you realize your inner instinct comes out and it comes down to it's either me or you. buddy. And so it's like you got to be ready. If he's willing to kill you, you got to be ready to kill him. And so it's like, and I always make the joke. I just like look at him and smile, be like, I'll be right back. Give him a little wink, be like, I'm a gangster. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna finish this. Be right back. We're going to McDonald's. Curtains.
So can I say something about you on TV real quick? When you're on, because you guys are comparing reality shows, television. I actually think the big distinction between the performer's medium and the editor or writer's medium is live. So like if you're a Broadway actor, for instance, you are the ultimate arbiter of what the audience sees. Yeah. There is no director or editor who slices up your performance. It is you. You decide what the audience sees. Same with WWE. Yeah. If you're on a live broadcast, you are decide. They can tell you anything they want, but if you go into business for yourself, if you do your version of a pipe bomb, no one can stop you. Yeah. And in reality television, it's interesting because while the stakes are there, like the audience might hate you as a person, they are ultimately deciding what the audience sees with their edits. Yeah, that's
like
brutal. For you, I'd be like, if I were working with you in film and television, I'd be like, we need to take you to go do improv classes. Like really make you uncomfortable on stage, do dramatic acting on stage, because I think that accelerates an actor's learning in the beginning more than anything. Like you've done some improv too, right?
Yeah. I think that's what helped me a lot in WWE is I went to Growlings and UCB, and it definitely helped me just think on my toes when the audience gives you something so different and you have to like live right then and there, go.
I agree. I think I always said that I think Broadway acting is the hardest form of acting because you can't mess that up because you're dependent on 17, 18 other people. And I also say like improv acting has got to be some of the most difficult things because it's hard for somebody to come to you as Lana and say, hey Lana, we need a Russian heel. Go make a Russian heel. You'd be like, a lot of people
do it like that.
Yeah, like how do
crazy.
I do? How?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
she's ready.
Yeah, you just
let's
do
talk
it.
right
Let's
now.
talk.
Yeah. I want to talk to you right now about, do you want to become a WWE superstar? Why did you pick boxing? Why not WWE?
Because I didn't like the cauliflower ear and the spandex. I mean, it's like,
I actually have a question. Did you ever see a girl on the show and you have some chemistry on the show and you think like, oh, there's actual real chemistry here, and then you try to kindle it off camera?
Yeah, I did that really, really recently.
Can you give us the name, please?
Yeah. So I think everybody knows it. Yeah, obviously, like perfect match. I met Georgia. Georgia was great. She kind of.
You know Georgia?
I don't know Georgia.
She's like the Australian. She kind of looks like Margaret Robbie a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like the Australian. She comes from Too Hot to Handle similar, and then we were also on Perfect Match and also on Battle Camp together.
Oh, wow.
And I think we had some good chemistry. We got on really well, and then obviously after Battle Camp, we got on really well. And then I got a couple opportunities to see her, in the real world and stuff like that. But her current boyfriend and me, we don't really get along ever. So it causes a lot of turmoil. But it was a big thing online for a little bit that people were shipping us together because of the chemistry that we did have on these shows. And
interesting.
It's difficult when you pursue things outside of TV, as I'm sure you understand. Is like I always say, like, people have like the luxury of, if you're not on TV or anything like this, you go meet somebody, you can introduce yourself and build your own rapport. Where is if you come from a show, people have like a preconceived idea of who you are. You have to prove that that's not you or that is you. And similar to with the girl Georgia, who I liked, a lot of what I was dealing with is, you try to get into the dating pool and they're like, well, aren't you supposed to be dating Georgia? Aren't you supposed to be with Georgia? So they push this narrative really heavy, and it causes a lot of unneeded pressure amongst the relationship between, even like me and her, friendship relationship, serious relationship, whatever it is. It puts a lot of tension on it because now it's more difficult to just go hang out somewhere because then somebody's going to take a picture of you or post anything together because people are going to assume that you're together. And
she has a boyfriend now, this girl?
I don't think she has one right now, but
But you said the one didn't like you. So.
The one that she had did not like me.
Brother, if you and I become best friends, you will never meet my girlfriend. If you're the best man at my wedding, you'll be on Zoom. You'll be miles away. You're never meeting him. I don't care.
In particular, like for him in particular, with Harry, like I would do it just to make a point.
You're not going to invite him to Nikki's birthday?
He's not going around my mom. He's not going around my aunts. He's not going around my girlfriend.
I do bar mitzvahs. Come on.
Well, you didn't say that. Well, then maybe I give you $10,000 to do a barefoot bar mitzvah dance. I think, I actually think Miro would like you. Miro is CJ's husband. Yeah. I love fighters.
You like working out?
No, not at all.
No, I feel like they would bond at the gym for sure.
Absolutely. But also he's a fighter. I mean, it sounds like I didn't think you were taking fighting very seriously. I'm going to be honest because I see a lot of this Misfit stuff.
Yeah.
calling out Nate Diaz. There's the big size discrepancy, whatever. But in talking to you, it seems like you are a wrestler. You are an athlete. You're a big
football
dude.
player.
But and a wrestler, you said.
Oh,
right?
you were a
high
wrestler
school,
too?
yeah.
Oh,
You
shoot. I
Went to
didn't know
state, yeah, first
Oh.
year. Yeah, it was good.
What weight class?
Oh, wow.
Heavyweight.
Oh, you were heavy.
Yeah.
Is that 260 at?
I think the 260 is the limit in high school.
260.
Yeah, you can't be
Wow.
over 260.
Yeah.
Which if you're over 260 in high school.
And how often are you training boxing?
I'm training every day. You know, that's the difference between me and a lot of the other influencers, which is why the ego comes into play, is because like they'll have me box an influencer, and you know, I defended my title against an influencer. I knocked him out in 3 minutes. Whereas before that, I fought you know, a seasoned fighter, 11-0 in MMA, and then whatever, and I knocked him out in 4 rounds. And the thing that I do differently than the rest of the influencers is, yeah, Misfits is an influencer scene, but they have different divisions of Misfits now. A lot of people don't know this, but they have a pro division. They have a crossover division where it's like people that take it more serious, MMA guys and stuff, and then they have the influencer division. These are like the YouTubers, and I've been removed away from the influencer division, obviously, because you know, outside of Misfits, I'm fighting on professional promotions as well. Obviously, I defended my title August 30th on Misfits. Literally 4 days ago, 5 days ago, whenever Saturday was, I went down to Mexico. I fought for it again. Later this month, I have a few fights in Colombia, a couple fights in Germany before the end of the year, before you know, finishing with the super card back on Misfits in December, which I'm supposed to be main eventing.
Are you?
Wow.
Are you?
That's
Do you
awesome.
feel like you're taken serious as a boxer?
It just depends on who you ask. I think in terms of Misfit, if people know boxing, they'll respect it. If people don't know anything about boxing, they're gonna be like, oh, you only found a Misfit, so they don't respect it. But here's the thing, is like, a fight is a fight. If you want to get in the ring, or you want to get in the ring, anybody gets in the ring, you're in a fight. It's
I'm
boxing.
having a fight in Curitiba, Brazil.
Oh,
I'm
there you
doing
go.
an amateur Muay Thai fight.
That's a fight. You know what I mean?
Since when?
Vinicius and Giga are taking me to Curitiba, Brazil.
And you're fighting?
I'm fighting.
There you go. And
Love Johnny.
that doesn't, just because you haven't been doing it as long, or you might have, or you don't have the same skill set as a lot of these, you know, Chuck Liddell, Nate Diaz, whoever the hell it is. It's like, brother, you're still getting in the ring, putting your life on the line, same damaging, same punches, like that. You're a fighter to me.
In boxing, wrestling, and fighting, tickets have to be sold, right? And I think that's a big thing that people forget of, like, why is Logan Paul and Jake Paul where they're at today, is because they're selling tickets. Yeah, they're great heels coming from the outside again, but also they know how to sell tickets. And so the fact that you're translating into ticket sales, again, is phenomenal. That's a part of the business, and I'm going to keep on trying to recruit you to WWE.
Yeah, I think it's like, you could be the best fighter in the world. Jake Paul might not be the best boxer in the world. I might not be the best boxer in the world. But the thing is like, you come in with a built-in audience,
Right.
and people, whether they love or hate you, want to see you fight, whether it's to get beat up or not get beat up. And
Right.
think about it like when we were all in high school and there was a fight outside at the flagpole. The whole crowd showed up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who was there to fight. It was even more entertaining if it was somebody that you knew that was popular that was fighting, right?
Yeah.
And so it transitions into wrestling, it transitions into jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. And I think that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. If you're willing to get in the ring, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm ready to get in the ring right now. Boom.
Well,
Throw a
we'll
punch.
save it for the too hot to handle thing. You guys
Oh
can.
my
Well,
gosh.
RKO action, huh?
Oh, you know our cast.
Nowhere.
Do you have a favorite professional wrestler?
I like John Cena. I think he
Oh,
was cool.
nice.
Obviously, he's very mainstream.
Not the hottest take, but it's okay.
No,
John
I
Cena's
love John
popular.
Cena.
He's popular.
I love John Cena. John Cena is one of my all-time favorites.
I really liked Rey Mysterio. I used to
Oh,
think
yeah.
that 619 thing he did was
Oh,
so sick.
so
I used
sick.
to try to do that on my bunk beds as a little kid all the time.
His son is actually a really prominent wrestler now. I think he's IC champion, right? He's the Intercontinental champion. Yeah.
Are you guys still very much involved in, I guess you are still very involved in the WWE?
My husband is in WWE, so yes, and also they made me a WWE legend this year.
They're
That's a specific designation.
Yeah.
So after you earn a certain level of accolade in the WWE, you sign what's called a Legends contract, which basically means they'll use you in video games, they'll bring you out for special appearances, and it's a very rare group of people who ascend to that level pre-Hall of Fame, but post-prime of your career. Although CJ is always primed for a comeback. I think she will be the general manager of Raw soon enough. We have our great producer, Ryan, who is helping her manifest that right now. You can check him out on the Delulu podcast.
I love this.
Which you need to get on with him too, because it's fun.
yes.
But yeah, so CJ is a bona fide legend, literally a legend.
Yeah.
That's what she is. And I
That's cool.
would like to become a professional wrestler, but I just haven't really found my niche yet.
Wait, why did you move to Spain?
Well, I actually got a residence in Spain, so I'm actually a Spanish resident, believe it or not. So.
Where were you born?
I was born in Seattle, but
Okay.
I started traveling to Spain just to vacation a little bit. I really liked this. So I started going back more. And then, ironically enough, one of the people that works at Misfits, who does the media, he's one of my good friends. He's from there, so I started hanging out with him more. He introduced me to a lot of the boxing scene out there. So like I had, my head coach was based out of Spain. My gym was there.
Oh, wow.
I work with the brand Leone, which is like a luxury boxing brand. They're all based out of Spain. So a lot of my boxing operation happens out of there, and a lot of my TV operation happens out of the United States.
Oh,
You run into Tapuria ever? Elliot Tapuria? The feather.
That guy is a gangster. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, I respect what everybody do, but his last fight, he told the champ, he was like, "Man, I'm sorry, it's got to be you," and then goes and knocks him
Oliveira,
out.
yeah. I
In
was there
3
live.
seconds. I was like, he goes, "I'm really sorry, it has to be you." Knocks him out and just walks out, gangster.
Who's your next victim?
I got Andrew Tate.
You're fighting Andrew Tate?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know yet.
You're
but,
fighting Andrew Tate?
Yeah, I got Andrew Tate next, so we're gonna go mess him
that's-
up. He just announced that he is gonna be fighting on Misfits. He wants a shot at the heavyweight champ. That's me.
Do you think you're going to crush Andrew?
I'm gonna demolish Andrew. You're crazy. The thing is,
Do you have any personal animosity towards him?
it's a business. Fight game's a business, and like obviously a lot of people want to see that guy get starched. And he talks a big game, and his whole persona is masculinity and fighting people. But I got to give it. The guy's going up against a giant. I'm much larger than him. I'm much younger than him. I'm better looking, I think, personally. And I'm gonna.
Well,
go
you just described about 98% of the world. So from what I'm hearing, Andrew Tate is somewhat of a heel. You're saying people want to get him starched. Your character is that of a heel. So do you turn face for this? Are you?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of like this full moment where they take the bad guy and they send him to go beat. It takes a bad guy to beat a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a villain to beat a villain. And I think, like I said earlier, it takes a very smart and calculated person to be a good villain. And I think that, Andrew he spent obviously time in jail, and he's got his controversial things. And he is a former heavyweight champion in kickboxing. So he does have
know that.
Yeah, he's a heavyweight champion in kickboxing. And, he's making his return, and this is his first fight back being famous. And, the deal has been in negotiations basically all summer at this point. And I think that, he's got a tough task ahead of him because, some of what I was saying earlier, there is a size and a skill gap there. And I think that, he's going to fight a much larger, younger, stronger individual. And there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that. So there's going to be a lot of pressure. And then, my whole thing is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a lesson out of this, man. I'm going to be like, listen, you might be a legend. You might have done all these things, but, age catches everybody. And then that's my stamp on it.
I don't know.
Ooh,
if
I'm
Misfits,
so excited about this fight. Like legit. I'm getting like,
I want to produce. See, I don't know if Misfits does this, but what UFC does so well is they produce a whole suite of shows surrounding their fighters to build intrigue, but also tell the story of who the fighters are. Like talking to you, I'm so much more interested in watching you fight now that I get to know you a little bit.
Yeah,
And obviously you have the gimmick and you have the persona and you're creating this version of yourself out in the world that gets people to tune in. But getting to the real you and hearing about what you had to endure from Seattle to wherever you're going to fight on the world's largest stage against one of the most famous Googled people in the world.
This guy's
I want to
huge.
hear that story A to Z in an authentic way. And I believe that gets more people to tune in.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also agree. Like a lot of people don't know, like, I didn't really grow up in the most stable household. Like I was adopted actually by my aunt, essentially. So like my cousin who travels with me, he's actually my brother. Kind of grew up very rocky lifestyle growing up, but it's just like, I'm a firm believer that everybody has the opportunity to write their own story. I could have, easily been similar to other people in my family who, go down the wrong path or in and out of jail, stuff like this. And, I just made a decision like, this is a standard. I have a code for myself and this is what we're going to achieve. And, I got kicked out of school once for arguing with my teacher. I told her I wanted to be a ninja astronaut pirate in space. And she told me to pick something realistic. I said, that is realistic for me. You teach third grade, I'm going to be a ninja astronaut pirate in space, so.
It's more believable than if you would have said, I want to go on TV and be paid just to hang out with hot girls. And then I want to box world famous famous people and have millions and millions and millions of followers.
Now imagine trying to explain this to my family, my 90-something-year-old great-grandmother, and like, what do you do for a job? Whoa, grandma, like I go on TV and I flirt with girls and people give me money for posting pictures of myself on the internet. Right. Yeah. Imagine, our mom, she works in a prison. She's a counselor. You know what I mean? Like, imagine explaining this. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, they say, success is preparedness and opportunity when they meet. And certainly God has prepared you physically in a certain way, but also you're an incredibly hard worker. You have a tremendous amount of self-belief. Yeah. And you've put yourself in very uncomfortable situations, sometimes with your life literally on the line. Yeah. And up until this point, you've met the opportunity with your preparedness. And that's really impressive. It's really cool to meet you and hear your story.
That. Yeah, I'm really impressed. And I'm really excited about this fight for you to whoop his ass. Because it's like he's so arrogant, and I think in this situation where you have two great heels, this is where baby faces happen, and I do believe that you're going to be the baby face and you're going to whoop his ass and you're going to become like massively popular.
Can we get a Lana promo for him over Andrew Tate?
Well, I'm waiting for Chase, the tallest, the strongest, the most chiseled men in boxing at Misfits right now, to go and crush that stupid Neanderthal small man, Andrew Tate.
I love it. The crushing I will definitely be doing.
I'm excited. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Chase Demoor on across all platforms.
Awesome.
Very cool. And I want you to come to Kings and train with us one time.
Is that in LA?
It's in Anaheim.
It's
about an hour away.
I love Disneyland.
There you go. You can get some good footage of it. Those guys are great too. You'll love rolling with them and throwing some mitts.
Yeah, we're going to come to your fight.
All right.
Yes.
Make sure you guys are there.
Yeah.
Message Styles. I'll get you guys sorted.
I'm 100%. We're going to that fight.
Yeah, we're definitely going. Oh
I want to be in the press pool afterwards. You know how they do press conferences? We need to be in the press pool.
Oh, the press conference is going to be nuts. I'm going to let him know about himself. Listen, Baldy.
Oh my God. This is going to be so good. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, we're back on CJ Puts You Over, and we have Ryan with us.
Oh my God, hey.
Yes, Delulu. So we're going to talk about our Emmy experience real quick and why WWE isn't in the mix of it.
You know what's interesting is because when we were at the Emmys, which was such an incredible experience for CJ and I literally was looking at you and I was like, CJ, why are there no other WWE wrestlers here except you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you told me that actually the Emmys really don't recognize WWE as a whole.
Yeah.
The Emmys in general, as is all award shows, is very much a political process, right? So people are campaigning to win awards. And so,
this is very interesting.
And that's not even said with any sort of pejorative connotation, right? Like in order to get voters to vote for you, you have to campaign.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, both the nominations and the wins are based on votes. And so how do you earn votes? You have to, in the case of, say, something like The Studio, which is so endemic to the industry in general, right? It's a phenomenal show and people love it, but it's a show about the industry. So of course, the audience who is voting for the Emmys is going to be more predisposed to favor a show like that than, say, some other shows that, like WWE, for instance, which isn't really sort of content for the sort of film enthusiast or TV enthusiast to the same degree.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we were looking at the nominations and one of the categories was scripted live. And we feel like WWE could fall right into that because SNL got nominated twice in that one.
Yeah.
And WWE has existed for so long, like way before we were even existing ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of surprising. I actually Googled it because CJ and I were talking about it and I was like, has WWE ever been recognized in that sense? And they were like, for the sports Emmys and like other niche type Emmys, but never for prime time, you know? And like the representation, because I thought I was just so in awe seeing CJ being there and being a WWE wrestler and a WWE legend and being on the carpet. But like we were talking, I didn't see anyone
there was
else.
no one. You know?
It's been a frustration of mine for a long time, just in
Hollywood.
Just talking about WWE. I mean, like, if you consider that storylines often take place over decades, performances often culminate after decades long of putting in time and effort from the performers themselves and the writers and the directors, all the while staying in character, putting your body on the line, doing it live, doing it on stage, doing it off camera, doing it on your social media. Like, you really do have to embody these characters for so long, and the performances play out in front of tens of thousands of people live, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people at home with the cameras on,
Yeah.
in character. I mean, absolutely, it's an extraordinary feat by all the performers.
Yeah.
And so it isn't recognized because the perception of the space for so long, and let's be honest, for a very long time, I don't think they treated their performers very well.
Yep.
I think
Facts.
and the reputation was sort of deserved.
Yeah. I mean, they were having striptease matches. Like,
Yeah, look
the
how women were treated in
striptease
WWE for so
mud
long.
matches. So I can understand why that stigma of trashy was there. I mean, we're having any mud matches. That's crazy
Or
to
bra
me.
and panty matches.
Yep.
But now you have some of the
But it was crazy viral too. I will
Totally.
say it was like, but again,
It
porn
occupied
is
it-
viral.
it,
so
it occupied its own space. But porn doesn't get nominated for awards either.
Yeah.
But now
their own.
But that's the
Awards.
they're
the
slammies. they should call them the slammies. Actually, that would be good for the porn awards.
Yeah.
Different kind of slammy. But if you consider now, like I think that's such an amazing point, like how women are treated in the world. I think
Yeah.
Triple H has been a big part of that.
Absolutely.
Really giving women the spotlight to perform. Becky Lynch was the most over fighter for a while.
Yeah.
AJ Lee's return recently was one of the most viral, the biggest pops that any
Right.
fighter has gotten.
Yeah.
Women headlining WrestleMania, what Ronda was
Multiple
able to
times,
do.
yeah.
Evolution, women only premium live events. Like it really, I do think is moving into a much different space. I think the documentary on Netflix, is it Unreal or
Unreal.
Unreal, really is starting to show
Yeah.
some of the craftsmanship that goes into developing this product.
Yeah.
And I do think the tide will turn and it will get more formal recognition and more critical recognition and laud. But it's just going to take
Paul
a minute.
Heyman deserves Emmys constantly, in my
His
opinion.
performance is remember when I sent you that performance of his as an actor? I forgot what the exact context.
I think he was talking about his father or something, and later he told me it's the suit that he wore to his father's funeral, and he goes to give that type of performance, he just puts on that suit and immediately triggers him into that emotion. And I was like, wow, he actually is the one that this year tweeted stuff out and posted about WWE needing to be nominated for an Emmy and that we're not.
I feel like with everything you said, do you think it just is coming from a place of not being prestigious enough to be recognized by something like the Emmys? Or do you think it's like just something that isn't necessarily, I don't want to say not deserving, but you feel like it's not there yet?
I do know that the fan base for WWE is much bigger than people think.
Yeah.
I know a
Oh, yeah.
lot of
It's insane.
For sure.
But
It's
again,
insane. Our fans are the best. I love you guys.
the individual categories. So like let's call it actor or editor or something. The individual categories are nominated by the people who are in that branch of whatever the respective academy is.
Oh, wow,
So,
I didn't know that either.
And then the winners though are voted by the entire the entire nominating body.
Wow.
Now the one exception to that may be if it's
Interesting.
like best show. That I think is everybody votes for both the nominees and the winners.
Okay.
So again, you do have
Interesting.
quite a bit of nuance here,
Yeah.
and I don't think it might not be as simple as they're excluded because they're not respected. And clearly they're being respected by the right people. Netflix is the
Yeah.
biggest global platform, and they've now fully embraced not just Monday Night Raw, which is the flagship show of WWE, but they're also doing a bunch of supplemental shows, docudramas, etc.
And we're on Peacock.
on Peacock, to really accentuate and enhance the audience's experience of it. So, I think that like we always talk about UFC, it's like 30 years old or something, it's like basketball in the 1950s or whenever basketball started. We are only at, WrestleMania 42. And it's not like this is something that's going away.
But that's a long time.
It is, but think about the old era of WWE and the new era of WWE. Even we're talking about how women are treated.
Yeah.
Like,
very true.
I do think
Very
the tide
true.
will turn. That requires, as does most TV and film shows and movies, just as does most movies and TV shows, requires set decorators, costume designers, makeup artists, writers, cinematographers, directors, performers.
Literally.
And then you're adding that layer
Producers.
of producers.
Producers that are producing the backstages. There's it's
Maddie
literally
Cox,
a circus.
social media,
Exactly.
distribution. I mean, everything that goes into the world of promoting,
And traveling from week to
producing,
week.
and
Different city.
executing the WWE is nothing short of miraculous. And I absolutely agree with you that there deserves recognition. Where that recognition ultimately is derived from, I think is probably more of a technical question than it is one of outright what they ought to do. It's more what are they eligible for? And if they are eligible for those categories and have yet to be recognized, I do believe that tide will probably turn as we are now entered this new era of presentation of the product.
Well,
That's a great answer.
Well, do you guys think WWE should be recognized? I know that Johnny
yeah.
had a lot of like nuance about it, technicalities, but like I feel like it should be recognized more. So, besties, if you loved this CJ Put You Over, be sure to follow the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms, and please rate the show 5 stars if you get a chance to. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Yes.
Are we taking WWE to the Emmys? Because I think we can make that happen.
Yes.
I think